the mistakes that you see in a lot of, well, I don't know if you could call it a mistake, but it's a choice that I don't think I want to do with this. In a lot of lesbian erotica, is there's no men in the story. I mean, like, none.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's men in the world.
Not even as villains.
They're just not even there. It's like you're living in a fantasy land with all women. You know, and I guess that can be fun. Sure. You know, as a sort of a, you know, get like an escapism kind of fantasy. Mm-hmm. You know, but this is hard boiled. You know, so this is day-to-day life. And so she's living, you know, she's an ex-cop, you know, ex-military. She spends a lot of time with straight guys.
Right. She's probably around a lot of men.
Exactly. You know, and so, and I like, and then she's also around a lot of gay guys. Mm-hmm. You know, and around a lot of straight women. And it's like, I want to kind of keep that diversity, you know, in the storytelling to just keep it interesting. It's funny, I had a person get real angry with me. I'm assuming, you know, that this was a female person, but they didn't indicate how they identified. But was real peeved that had a Butch scene. You know, why'd you ruin that book, you know, with a Butch on Butch scene? You know, and it's like, you know, that's okay. You know, not everybody likes Showdown in Little Tokyo either. I love that movie. I make no apologies. You know, it's like, this book is my book. I put in what I like. You know, if you don't like something that's in there, you don't have to read it. But it just seems like if I don't include that, it would just be so limiting.
Yeah, and it's sort of the assumption that never happened. There can only be a Butch Femme pairing.
All kinds of shit happens.
No, it happens.
Which is not true. Yeah.
It is not true at all. And, you know, and like I said, I mean, this is a character who's very omnivorous in her tastes. You know, so she'll pretty much roll with anybody who's got pussy. So, you know, kind of pick me, although I'm more than happy to include the gents. You know, come one, come all.
Literally.
That's right. That's right. But, so, what do you think about the people identifying along the spectrum of Butch Femme? I mean, I'm fascinated by this, and also fascinated in the idea that it isn't A or B, that it's a sort of a spectrum, like, you know, masculine, feminine, Butch, Femme. Fascinating.
Absolutely.
You know, because me, you know, I guess you could say, obviously I identify as Femme, but I was much more Butch when I was growing up. I mean, like, hard Butch growing up as a teenager. And I guess if I had to put like a name to how do I identify on the spectrum, I think I'd call myself macho femme. Macho femme. You know, because I mean, there's femme, you know, but I have a kind of a boyish view of the world. You know, I tend to kind of be more, you know, more aggressive, more masculine, more hands-on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, much more direct, much more, you know, so, but I don't know. I mean, do you think that that's changing now, that people are more open to flexibility in that?
I think it's somewhat generational, and I think it's certainly microcultural. So I don't think we could say across the whole U.S. is how people feel, because clearly
that's never true for anybody. I mean, you can never say all people feel
right. But I think definitely, especially with younger generations that are coming up, and I think even with our generation, we're seeing this allowance for a spectrum of presentation.
Right.
Sexual orientation, gender presentation, sex presentation, whatever it is. I think we're seeing there a lot more allowance for what's possible and what could be all in one person.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing to talk to people and say, you know, yeah, this is how you identify right now. This might not be how you identify in 6 months or 2 years or 10 years. And it's okay.
That's the point.
Explore it. Do what you want to do. And you can identify as whatever it is right now, and whatever amount of time from this point forward, change your mind.
Yeah.
And it doesn't discount who you were, and it doesn't undermine who you want to be or who you are.
Or who you might be in the future.
Or who you might be in the future.
Yeah.
Just ask yourself if you still like SpaghettiOs. And is the answer no and you're okay with that?
Are we talking about eating them or just pouring them over your whole body?
I was talking about eating them, but you make a good point.
You know, we're going to talk about squashing. Squashing,
it's good to be clear about in what way are you utilizing the SpaghettiOs.
SpaghettiOs, that's right.
Maybe you found a new use for them and therefore like them again.
There you go. There you go.
I think, though, on that continuum of, like, the feminine boy, like, either right next to it or on this side, on another line is like so there's a feminine boy, but then there's the girl who's boyish.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they look pretty much the same.
Oh yeah. But they're
there
treated,
is a difference.
But they're treated very differently.
Yes.
And,
Absolutely.
was joking about the Girl Scouts, it's been in the news,
Right.
Girl Scouts cause lesbianism, which I'm for. In general.
All right.
But, this is a good thing.
Why?
But, why don't, instead of Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, why don't we have Butch Scouts and
Boy
Femme Scouts?
What do they
And
sell?
then,
What do Boy Scouts sell?
just Scouts. So
Just
if you want to be in the Butch Scouts, you can be in the Butch Scouts. If you want to be in the Femme Scouts, you can be in the Femme Scouts. If you just want to be a Scout and you don't care, you be in the regular Scouts.
This happened a few weeks ago where a Girl Scout troop allowed a transgender girl to be in the Girl Scouts, in their Girl Scout troop. And of course a whole bunch of people got all bunched up about it, and they're pulling their kids out of the Girl Scouts because, oh my God, how can you allow this freak of nature to be in the Girl Scouts? And I'm going, really? These are the values that you're teaching your children, that you can't be accepting of people who are different from you?
Oh, for Christ's
You would
sake.
think that Girl Scout, that group, that they would want that.
It's about conformity.
Yeah, and it's
It's
sad.
about getting reelected in the Bible Belt.
It's indoctrination.
But I thought it was really amazing how the actual Girl Scouts of America, the actual nonprofit organization, and many, many troops across the U.S. said, we're not about discrimination.
Hello?
That's not what we're about. We are not about discrimination.
No.
We are about inclusiveness.
Well, good. But see, again...
And I thought that...
that's dynamite. I think that's fantastic. But, do we really need, as a kid, I had no interest in single-sex groups. Not just Girl Scouts, but I had no desire to be in a group of only girls. I guess some people do, or because you hear that from adult women a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I want a female-only space.
I don't know.
And
I want to be around a bunch of guys.
I guess I get that.
I
That's
wanna be the
fine
center
if
of
that's what you
attention.
want. But how important is it for a child to be sexually segregated? Is it really relevant? Do they really?
They don't
Why
care.
is it just
They don't
Scouts?
care.
Why can't there just be Scouts? Why do
They
they
could
have
be
to be Girl and Boy
animals.
Scouts?
They don't care.
It's the skills.
Kids are
Girl
cool.
Scouts learn knitting and stuff. And Boy
Yeah, but
Scouts
why?
are starting fire with twigs.
But that's my question: is why, or do we still?
No good reason.
Because first of all, let me ask you this: it's 2012, for Christ's sake, who's lighting fires? In Manhattan, we're not doing it. It's like, I don't know. It just
Is that
seems.
important to learn how to fish?
Girls have cooties.
It's not a bad skill, but
I will say this
It's not the skill part. I think it's the socializing part.
It's the socializing.
But see, why
There's
shouldn't
different
kids be
socializing.
encouraged to socialize with all genders? Why do they have to be segregated?
Well,
Well, it's not
the
famous
campfire clubs are both genders. The Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts are segregated because at that age, quote unquote, their adults believe the opposite gender have cooties.
Yeah.
And they indoctrinate them that way.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
have to show you.
It's ghastly.
I have a book in the other room. I'll show it to you after the show. That is a book that was actually given out to young men when they finished the Boy Scouts, when they aged out of the Boy Scouts.
Okay.
And it's called What Every Young Man Should Know.
Yeah,
Well,
so
fine.
fucked up.
It's fantastic. It's I'm trying to remember the year, or before 1920s.
Oh, 20s.
It's very interesting, and it's a thick book. The first 10, 15 pages are all of the physicians who recommend this book.
Yeah.
These worldly men with beards and things, telling young men what they should know.
So what should they know?
And so some of it is information about, how to get around in the world and what you should know about the real world now that you're out of Boy Scouts and the protection of your parents and all of these sorts of things. But it also tells you what women to stay away from and what women
Really? What kind of women are those?
what women to marry.
3 of them are on that sofa.
Yeah, it's us.
We're fun.
What women
Exactly.
what women's
That's
kind of
the
women
one.
to marry.
That's
It has a whole, you can see a whole pages and pages and pages of the calisthenics you should do, because you really shouldn't masturbate because it's bad for your health.
So you should work out instead of jacking off.
Yes, you should do calisthenics.
And
you see in the drawings,
I
he's in his full
if you're like
Boy
doing
Scout
jumping
uniform.
jacks.
Have you seen that thing that like goes like this?
Oh, right.
Jerk-off master?
Yes.
Yes.
And he's in his full uniform with the kerchief and everything, doing his jumping jacks and pictures. It's great.
Wow, now that's porn right there.
There's a lot of people.
I would pay to see that.
It's hysterical.
Come on, boys.
And I found this book in a gun and antique shop in Lake Tahoe, tucked away on a shelf with a bunch of books on war. And this happened to be there. You know, and I'm like, oh, I gotta buy this. I have to have this because no one will believe me that this exists. Now, there are other books in the series where every young woman should know. Whatever.
How to be a homemaker.
I could have something like that tomorrow. I have another place where I attend that's the opposite of this, which I do on purpose so that I know how the other side of the world or thinks, and I can bring you stacks of it.
Yeah.
Purity and
I want to see those because I want to see that literature
yes.
because I think it's very important, and I find it really amusing that we continue to try to perpetuate these ideas that like purity and virginity and stuff are really valuable.
Yeah, but that comes back to we should withhold sex to get our
Right.
way. They're connected.
It is connected.
You know, it's like sex is not a commodity. You know, it's
or shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. I mean, why? You know, it's like I want to
outside of porn or sex work. It should not be a commodity.
It should not be a commodity. I should want what I want because I want it, not because I want to use it as a bargaining chip to get something else from somebody. Yeah, that's just I find that kind of speechless logic. But you know, the one thing that I find amusing about people who have this, you know, very punitive mentality towards sex is the idea that if people who are, for example, deeply, deeply religious are exposed to other ideas other than the ones that are approved, then they will just, ankles up to the ears, instantly they'll be taking 12 dicks the next day. Guaranteed. You know, whereas people who are more open-minded, you know, can read, you know, a pamphlet like the one you were talking about and not immediately become religious. So, are you really that in doubt? Are your beliefs so fragile that if even the slightest other opinion is even in the same room, that it'll just collapse like a house of cards? Because mine isn't.
It's just them bullshit, you know. They want to cover it up. They're guilty about it. They want to fuck, but they don't want to admit it. So
you know what it's
like?
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of eating disorders. Because, you know, the idea is that, you know, if eating is a pleasure and sex is a pleasure, then if you have an eating disorder, then every minute of your day is consumed with your disorder. And I think that if you have one of these, like, sexual disorders, you feel about fucking the way people who have eating disorders feel about eating, which is that you don't do it, you don't do it, you don't do it, you don't do it, and then you go, you know, off with a gay prostitute, you know, to prom for 3 weeks.
Like crazy.
Right, you binge.
You know, and I think it's almost the exact same way of thinking.
Rather than allowing...
Yeah, I eat every day. 3 times. You know, so I don't need to go... What's that?
Still talking about food?
Well, they have like no experience with it, so they OD.
3 times
crazy. Like
every day.
Like you go to Vegas and you go to control on the buffet.
Exactly.
You know,
It's the
you're all
same
fucked
thing.
up. Yeah.
If you have a normal, healthy sex life in which you're never starving, you know, where you're always kind of satisfied and, you know, and anytime you feel a little...
You probably make better choices, too.
You make
better
way better
partners,
choices.
better,
Exactly, because you're not in this state
Desperation.
of crazed deprivation where you,
Absolutely.
you know, and that to me is so much at the heart of all this stuff that's going on right now with trying to suppress women's rights and all of this. It's because, you know, it's like the kind of snotty, skinny chick who is annoyed that she has to order a salad, so she doesn't want anybody else to have cake. Fuck you, I'm having cake. You know, and I'm gonna have 2 slices. You know,
I'm gonna have yours.
Yeah, you're gonna eat that.
I had cake before I came here.
That's okay. Oh, well, and we love to say all things in moderation, including moderation.
That's right.
That's our life motto.
That it is okay to occasionally binge.
Absolutely.
It is okay to occasionally give into those cravings.
Absolutely.
Suddenly, you know what? So I don't care that it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm having a bowl of ice cream. I will pay for it later. But you know what? I'm going to do it.
Once
I
a
don't
month you
do
can
it
do
all the
that with
time.
no
But that's
effect
the
whatsoever.
thing is having one bowl of ice cream at 2 a.m. is not the
Never
same
mind.
as having 40 gallons of ice cream.
Exactly.
Or having
It
a
is
bowl
not.
of ice cream every 2 a.m. That's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Once a month, who gives a crap? It's not
And
gonna hurt you.
spending your entire day obsessively saying, all right, I'm going to have one bite of this, and then at 2 a.m., I'm going to have that ice cream.
Right.
I mean,
That's
I
not
love
healthy.
sex. I love sex, but I don't think about it every minute of every day because I don't have to. Because I know that I'm going to get it later if I want it. And if I don't, I don't have to worry about it. You know what I mean? But
You're not
if,
fighting with yourself.
yes, if every minute of your day is consumed with suppressing your sexuality, then the first time you see somebody walking out there who's not doing that, you're mad. You know, because you're jealous.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm free and you're not.
That's it. That's it.
I agree. I agree entirely. So, what do you want? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do with? Where's Christa going? What are you doing next?
What am I doing next? Well, I'm working on a tie-in project right now, which is kind of a series in which a lot of authors are taking on the same premise. So, there's a writer named Lee Goldberg, and he and a friend of his came up with this premise called the Dead Man series. And so a bunch of different authors are taking this series on, and we're having our own sort of take on that. They're short, and ebook will be available as ebooks. I want to do another Butch Fatale, for sure, at least one, probably two. Yeah, and I'd like to write another Angel Dare book. You know, I mean, I have in my mind, you know, where I want to go with her. But, you know, that's not to knock this stuff, but this is fun. You know, this is cool with. You know, but that's the meat, you know, and that takes a lot more out of me, and it's a lot harder work. You know, and so I know I want to get back to that, but you know, it's going to need to be like...
It takes a lot of energy.
It takes a lot of energy. I'm going to have to sort of, you know, sequester myself and just really get back into that mindset.
Well, how can people find your stuff?
www.ChristaFaust.com. That's ChristaFaust.com. That's all that.
Yeah. And you're on Twitter as
Faust Fatale. That is correct. Faust Fatale. Yes.
And on Facebook.
And on Facebook.
Faust.
Yes.
Right.
I mean,
She's everywhere.
The web is easy to find. So start at ChristaFaust.com and you can find everything
Work
you
your way
want.
from there.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you have your email address right there on the front of your site also.
I do.
You answer fan mail.
Yes, I do. We didn't get any other questions after that. We just had that one question.
Quite a few comments about calves and legs.
Calves and legs.
Shall we?
Everybody has
Oh,
legs.
good God.
Oh, and bare feet. Yeah. You're gonna kill our camera guy. He's gonna have a heart attack.
It's the big one. I can't stay. I got
We
me.
are out of time. Thank you so much. Christina.
Yeah, I could probably just
I
bullshit like this all night.
We can
Awesome.
keep going, but you're
Yes.
awesome, of course. Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you back.
Always, always. I'm thrilled to be here.
When are we back?
And we will be back on live on April 5th with Adrian Colesbury, who's also an author of it. He writes sexy stuff, but not this kind of sexy
Not
stuff.
like that.
Yeah, you're feeling it.
He writes more geeky sexy stuff. So we will see you later. Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right.